I think it's good because it's probably one of the few times you can actually observe yourself thinking, right? Instead of being bombarded by other things. Like you can actually at that point of journaling, right?
Mm.
And it can be your personal journal, it could be like what happened the other day. It could be like what are you hearing from the spirit, right? That's actually like very intimate, right? You don't journal with other people. Like somebody can't do it for you, right? Like you have to do it on your own. It's a very intimate practice.
Mm.
And like I said, it's like I think anybody who practices it regularly, they um they start to see things in a different way, um, and in a positive way.
I love that. You know what you made me think of when you said that? I think about when you sometimes when you read the Psalms and you read, it's almost like David doing that, isn't it? Journaling his worst fears or what he's going through or how he hates his enemies or I need help and it's like you were right. Almost he's almost journaling. It's so intimate. It's so intimate. We get to listen in on it and sort of read it and then appropriate it. But um, yeah, I can see how what you're saying. So would you do that every day, Kinson?
I don't do it every day. I usually do it when I feel like most overwhelmed.
Mm.
So
Mm.
when I'm feeling like really overwhelmed, um, what I found like in the past, what I found was two things. I either double down on what I was doing, which made me more overwhelmed, or I completely withdrew. Right? I was just like, I need to like be out. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to listen to anybody. I can't be around people.
Mm.
Uh, but but now when I feel that way, when I feel most anxious, when I feel most worried, when I feel like I'm stuck in a rut, um, I always go back to journaling. It just
Mm.
has a way of relieving that inner voice,
Mm.
and that that saying about the worst coach um, is the one that stares at you in the mirror. It's like, well, that coach is a little bit like insane, right? They, I mean, how many times have we said to ourselves like, oh, we should be doing this, we should be doing this, we should be a better mom, we should be a better dad, we should be a better son, a better brother, a better like colleague. We should be making more money. We should be this. It's like should. Would we ever put that much pressure on anybody we know,
Mm.
right? Would we put that much pressure or expectation on our children or our spouses? Like we would never do that, but we do it to ourselves, right? And so that idea of kind of like self-care
Mm.
found in journaling, I think is crucial because you start to read it and you just start to think, be like, oh my goodness, it's like, how did I survive putting that much pressure on myself, right? Where is this coming from? You know,
Mm.
and the value of it, of reading it a few years later with perspective, to be like,
Mm.
oh my goodness, it wasn't even a
Mm.
big deal. It wasn't a big deal. At the moment, it was like, I mean, it was everything. But then to read it a few years later, knowing what I know now, right?
Mm.
I'm like, oh, God delivered,
Mm.
right? I didn't actually have to be in that place. I made a decision, and that actually informs, right, the future. You know, the the best way to do time travel is to actually just envision what you want, like in the future. If we say collectively, you know what,
Mm.
in 10 years we want to be individuals, right, who are disciple makers, and we have disciples, friends in our community, that are passionate about this. What does it look like?
Mm.
What do I have to do to get there? What are the
Mm.
things I have to prioritize to make that happen? Um, you know, now is the time to make those changes.
Thank you
Mm.
so much, and I think that you've just again given me more more food to chew on, more stuff to chew on. But you know what you got me thinking about there? I've got one question for you before I go on. Do you have other people in your life as well that you feel that you can be as transparent with, or you walk away and it's been really helpful, or are you more someone who would internalize a lot of it and you would obviously glean wisdom by rubbing shoulders and or listening to a sermon and then go away and process it yourself? So just, you know what I mean? Like, do you find any solace in a brother or one sister, probably your wife or someone that you go, well, after I talk to you, that same weight is lifted? Or is journaling your main way? So please speak into that.
Or I have a brother that I mean, we were basically chatting with each other every 2 weeks. So he was based in Shanghai, and then I was here, and I found both ways have are different. I am usually a person who connects better with folks, like kind of like face to face, even this kind of medium. Obviously, I haven't even seen him face to face in 5 years. But journaling is like immediately available. Like I don't have to schedule anything. I don't have to, you know, check my schedule or to see if his schedule works. Like I mean, if I wake up at 5 a.m. and decide to say, well, I gotta get this done. It's 3 a.m. here. I can't call him. So there is the availability of one method over the other, and there's different richness to actually being prayed over by someone, right? There's a richness and an like I there are plenty of times when my kind of accountability partner, he would share a story, right? And it would just resonate with me like right there. It was almost kind of like God speaking to me through him, right? Like his struggle was my struggle at that exact time. And but I mean, to each their own. Some people choose like the things that work, and others blend it. I don't know if there's a formula.
Thank you so much for that, and I love what you said there, where it's not one way or another, and they've got different richnesses. You said, and I love that. What I wanted to say, you've encouraged me to reflect on was that I think that tie all this back to this choke thing, right? That even to what you were sharing, Deb, with regards to our second circle of two or three, it really does. There has to be a moment of reckoning as individuals. Like what Kinson's talking about is this moment where you go, Danny Koo needs to go and take this between me and God. And I've got to face whatever that is that's inside here, that's weighing on me. I need to deal with this. I need to get this out. Now, sometimes that's assisted because it's agitated or brought out by a brother or sister, right? That's another beautiful way that can happen. But I can see how in the reflections, like or what Kinson's saying, it's so powerful. And I don't know about for you, Deb, whether you might do that on your drives up to the farm, right? But for me, like to take what Kinson was saying, I will I will drive, and I can often find myself asking myself out loud, "What are you thinking, Danny? Now, what are you thinking, Danny? What are you thinking, Danny?" Like, no, you're not just thinking that. Come on, there's more. And I'm almost, if you're looking in the car next to me, you think, "Who's that guy talking to?" Like, earpods on, he must be speakerphone. But I'm actually talking because I might not journal, but that's the process that of you've got to have a reckoning with this stuff that's going on. Even for Rowan and Mish, and as they were sharing, like Mish had to process what she was sharing to do what she did. Same with Rowan, and but to that point of that discipline to set aside some time to go, what's going on in here? And so that habit of journaling, I get it, I can see why that does that. Like it's, you know what I mean. You've got to sit down. You've got to open your app or whatever, and you got to punch out some stuff. And yeah, well, so as I said, for me, it's this questioning of myself in the car. What about for you?
Look, I think the common thread here is the carving out of time and space. Like for me, I do get the long drive once a week down to the farm, 2 hours each way, and I relish that time. I actually, know that that time could be podcasting, it could be just in silence, it could be praying, it could be whatever, but it's just time for me and time for me and God. And yeah, so I feel like we all have a different way to find ourselves. And if there's a challenge to wrap up with, because we really do need to wrap it up, Denny,
Keep
challenge for
going. I love it.
I know we could keep going all day.
Okay.
And these, I mean, these sessions are really just to try and kickstart you, the listener, people listening in, to start thinking and dig deeper with yourself and, with a brother or sister, and just unpack this kind of stuff, because it's not just food for thought. It is actually the stuff that makes us, that makes us come alive to our faith and to ourselves, and that awareness. So I feel like to be able to find that and carve that out, find a rhythm in that. I know Sam Donnelly, he got his job, so he's not so available. He's been journeying with us as well. He's like traveling so much regionally, and it used to be, it originally was kind of like, oh, what an annoying thing having to be on the road so much, but now he's relishing that time just to dig deep and to have time with the Lord. And I think, yeah, so not everyone has that. Not everyone has long day trips or road trips every week, but I think you've got to find that groove for yourself. Otherwise, the busyness of life would just, you know, keep us running on empty.
Thank you to Mish, Rowan, and Kinson for just chiming in with their wisdom, their vulnerability, honesty, and it's so rich, isn't it? Like we really need to just get around a good some red wine. What else would we have? Barramundi, maybe some
Salmon,
sashimi.
oysters.
I don't know. We need an Indian friend to bring some good curry and just chew the fat with these sisters. Ginger beer, Kinson said. Uh, yeah, I mean, yeah. So I want to thank you guys. Like, we love you guys. Thank you so much. We are all on this massive journey, and you know what? I've probably been more excited about God than ever before. Like, it's really weird spot to be in. I don't think life's worked itself out, but just the agitation, the camaraderie, the kinship of walking life with you guys, and knowing that, man, maybe I've got a good 40, 50 years left. I don't know. Gosh, 100 years left. But,
Wow.
but,
Come on.
but God, just like I'm excited that we could maybe come together and encourage a bunch of people and agitate faith one at a time, one Christian at a time, to the point where they are able to duplicate and just get alongside a brother or sister and do the same for them, who will do the same for someone else. And that's certainly why we do what we're doing. I think it's we can exist in our own little bubble, but we just want to bring people on this journey with us. So thank you so much for the contributions of all those guys, and we can't wait for the next one.
See you next fortnight.
Bye.
Bye bye.